Hey friends, Pastor Jeff here from Valley Community. Just wanted to share with you a few updates as it relates to our reopening process for this church, its building, its staff, and most importantly, the entire Valley community. Now, as many of us know, Washington County has entered into phase 1 of the reopening process for the state of Oregon. So what does this mean for the church community? Well, we want to remind you that the safety and well-being of our church members, friends, families, and staff are our first and foremost priority. We've taken a few steps approved by the Virus Task Force and session to allow for the church building to slowly reopen its doors. Now, this does not mean that worship is open. Our worship services will continue to be provided via live stream only, which you can find through our Facebook live streaming service. Should you have any questions about the specifics of that, you can always check our e-blasts, which come out on Tuesdays and Fridays, on how to get directions to join us for that live stream worship. This also does not mean that community groups or committees are meeting in person at this point. We're still waiting to ensure that we are allowing for more people to be in the building and for us to ensure that our safety procedures are intact when it comes to allowing and re-inviting groups into the communal spaces for group gatherings. What this does mean is that our church office is open through appointment only, which means should you wish to enter the church building to interact with our church staff, you can simply make an appointment by calling on the phone and leaving a message and setting up a time, or sending us an email and requesting a time to meet with us. And that way, we can ensure that we are allowing for all of the safety concerns to be addressed. There are a couple prerequisites when it comes to entering into our church building. The first, with phase 1, is that our church building allows for 25 people total to be in this building at one time. And our appointment system allows for us to manage that number. Now, should you wish to come to the church building, you'll notice that our church doors continue to remain locked, which means that you need to ring the doorbell, and then the staff member will allow you to come in. You can only enter through the east doors, which are the main parking lot entrance doors. And once you enter, you're going to encounter a sign-in table. Now, there are a few important things at the sign-in table we would want to remind you of so that all of us are safe in our interaction with each other during our time here. The first is that you're asked to sign into the logbook, which means that you are putting your name, the date and time of your entrance, as well as which locations within the church building you're entering. The reason for this is in the interest of contact tracing, which means simply if we are ever notified that someone has tested positive and that they are recorded as being here in the church building, we can also notify others who may have come into contact with that individual at that particular place and time. The other things you'll notice about the check-in table is that there will be extensive policy that reminds you of all of our expectations when you are in the building, which are some of these that we're talking about right now. You'll also notice that what is required for public space and interaction are what are face coverings. Now, there are a variety of these face coverings you can find, and you can bring your own if you have one. However, if you don't have a face covering to cover your nose and your mouth, then we will provide a disposable or possibly a reusable face covering provided by our church ministries. Feel free to use those in all the common areas in the church, as well as to take it home with you and use in other public areas where you may find the need. There are certain requirements also that require regular hand washing, which you can do so in the restrooms throughout the church building, use of sanitizing products, especially when it comes to shared spaces and shared uses, which again are provided in various spaces in the church building, and then also the requirement of social or physical distancing, which asks that you maintain a distance of approximately minimum 6 feet or more when it comes to interacting with others in the church building. Now, friends, I know that this may sound like a lot, But again, know that we have your safety and the well-being of others as our first and foremost priority when it comes to continue living into being Valley Community in the days, weeks, and months ahead. Now, when it comes to the live worshiping portion of our experience as Valley Community, we are working to ensure that we can meet all of the safety prerequisites as desired and required by the state. And when that time comes, we'll be sure to let you know. In the meantime, again, we invite you to join us for that live stream worship on Sundays at 10 a.m. through our Facebook page. And you can find that information again on the e-blast as required. Now, should you have any other questions or comments about our Phase 1 policy as it relates to our interactions in the common areas and with access to the church building, feel free to give us a call or leave us a message, send us an email, a note, any way that we can interact with you to share and make sure that we are addressing any questions or concerns that you may have. Again, this is a minimum of 21 days, and so the hope is that all will go well and that within the next following weeks, we'll have an additional Phase 2 proposal for our task force and session to address and to adopt so that we can continue to open our doors to the church community and to the larger community as a whole. Again, friends, know that we are thinking of you, we're praying for you, and we certainly desire to see you face to face in the weeks and months ahead. And so if there's anything that we can do to be part of your continued safety and well-being as an individual, as a family, as a faith community, we would love to hear from you. Until then, we will see you shortly, and again, we look forward to seeing you in person in the days and weeks ahead. God bless.